start proper. But as we do, I just wanted to mention that feel very free to go into the chat room there and talk to each other if you want. You see on the screen, you should be able to see on the screen, there's a chat box, yeah? So you can go in there and chat to each other, say hello. Please tell us where you're from, what country. We have a lot of people from different countries here, so feel free to do that. And for any questions, there's the Q&A box. Try not to, if you don't mind, try not to put your questions in the chat box, but in the Q&A box instead, because we'll be checking those regularly. We might not answer them straight away. We might get to them at the end, or we might be able to send a text back to you on the Q&A. So we got 76 attendees so far, so that's a good number. So I think we should get going then. So welcome everybody to the Imperial College Business Analytics course, Data to Decisions. Again, I'm Ian Jameson, one of the learning facilitators. Sergi Fogelson will be introducing himself in a moment, the other learning facilitator, and Adriana will also be doing a portion of this introduction as well towards the end. So just for those who just joined, we have a Q&A box. If you want to put questions in there, we'll pick them up as we go through. We might leave some of them to the end. And please, I'm going to just check out the chat box. Oh, look at that. There's 31 chats in there. That's great. So if you could go into the chat box and just introduce yourself, say where you're from. So Spain, London, I see already, Malaysia, Switzerland, Midlands, UK. I used to live in Birmingham a long time ago. That's great to see you all chatting away there. So feel free to introduce yourselves there. Just remember questions in the Q&A. So I'm going to get started with this. We have 88 attendees, which is a nice number. Oh, there we go. So business analytics from data to decisions. And this is the general sort of format we're going to go through today. So we're going to have some introductions to the Imperial College faculty, learning facilitators, program participants. Then we're going to go through the learning journey, which is missing a U in there, my apologies. Program overview, weekly content, live webinars, office hours, passing criteria, and even more. Then also, right at the end, Adriana will go through the demonstration of the tools for the learning platform as well. So here's Wolfram Weissman, who is a very experienced data scientist. And as you can see, he's done an awful lot here, Analytics and Operations Professor at Imperial, Academic Director of the MSc Business Analytics Program, Fellow of the KPMG Center for Advanced Business Analytics. And before joining Imperial College, postdoctoral researcher at Imperial College, London, Imperial College Research Fellow, visiting researcher at the Institute of Statistics and Mathematics, Vienna University of Economics and Business in Austria. I think he is Austrian or maybe German, I'm not sure actually. Visiting researcher at Computer Aided Systems Laboratory at Princeton University in the US, and visiting researcher in Industrial Engineering Operations Research Department at Columbia University. And of course, his research background is in decision-making under uncertainty and machine learning, as well as applications in operations, management, energy, and finance. And you'll be seeing Wolfram in the videos. Dr. Alex Ribedo Castro, Alex Ribedo Castro, I apologize, I have some pronunciation problems with that first part of his name. He is a data science senior teaching fellow at Imperial College Business School, academic fellow of the Data Science Institute, research member of the KPMG Advanced Business Analytics Lab. He teaches the master's course of Global Business Analytics at Imperial. Before joining the faculty of Imperial College, he got his MA and PhD in mathematics from University of California, Santa Cruz, assistant professor of mathematics at Pontifical Catholic University in Rio de Janeiro. And you'll be seeing him early on in the early videos as well. Excuse me a second. Here's me. I think they photocopied that, photoshopped that smile on my face, by the way. That's not really my smile. So I'm a research engineer and physicist in machine learning and deep learning, chartered physicist, a member of the Institute of Physics in the UK there. I'm a researcher in the psychiatry department at Massachusetts General Hospital, looking at machine learning, deep learning for medical diagnostics. I teach online courses in data science and machine learning at the MIT Professional Education and Columbia University Engineering departments. Before joining the Massachusetts General Hospital, I got a BA and MSc in physics from Robert Gordon University and Institute of Physics in Scotland. Robert Gordon University in Scotland. Anyone from Scotland here? And the Institute of Physics in the UK. Research fellow at Harvard Medical School, instructor in neuroscience Baylor College of Medicine, and researcher at National Biomedical Research Institute, where I was working with NASA down at Johnson Space Center, developing autonomous intelligent medical diagnostics using deep learning methods for spaceflight. I'm going to hand you over to Sergey to introduce himself. So Sergey, if you're there.
Hi, everyone. Sergey Fogelson here. I am one of your other course leaders along with Ian. Just a brief background on me. I am currently the VP of Data Science at Viacom CBS, a large multinational media company. I'm also a adjunct professor at Yeshiva University in New York City. And I am a data science instructor at Metis, which is an online and in-person data science bootcamp. Although nowadays, I think it's exclusively online given the current situation. My background, I got my PhD in cognitive neuroscience from Dartmouth College and have been working as a data scientist at various companies over the past 8 years now. So in cybersecurity, in ad tech, and now in media. So I look forward to interacting with all of you. And I'm very excited about the course.
Thank you, Sergey. Right, let's have a look at all the countries that people come from here. USA, of course, Colombia, Bolivia. I should say actually UK, of course. I'm actually in the United States at the moment. Bolivia, Brazil, Nigeria, South Africa, India, Indonesia, China. It was Switzerland. I saw someone from Switzerland, but I don't see it represented there. So I know there's someone from Switzerland. I think we marked it on the map. Japan, China, Indonesia. So we're spread out all over the world. Truly international. 172 participants from 36 countries. Now, this is interesting because often we don't get such an even spread among the industries. So here we have 17% in banking and financial services, 13% of participants in energy, IT, 12%, consulting, 8%, healthcare, 5%, and others 7%. Pharma, non-profit, tourism, government, automotive, sports, etc. So we're a fairly diverse group, actually. So now into the meat of it, really. And so business analytics, from data to decisions. Analytics, the science of extracting insights and making informed decisions based on data. This is at the heart of modern society, wherever you go nowadays. I mean, when I started off in this over 20 years ago, people hadn't really heard a lot about data science or machine learning, that sort of thing, but now it's everywhere. So what you're going to learn in this course? There's going to be an overview of the findings and current trends in analytics. We're going to apply techniques to business problems. There'll be quite a few of those. Summarize and visualize data effectively. We're going to draw insights and make predictions from data using predictive machine learning techniques. We're going to take informed decisions based on data using linear programming and integer programming as well. So it's going to be 17 weeks, basically, of fairly intense learning. 17 weeks. So I'm going to introduce the first part of the content, and then Sergey's going to take over, do the second part. And I'm doing mostly the introduction part. Sergey's going to do the second part, and then Adriana will do the platform, the Insensi platform as well. So for the first 5 weeks, it's going to be a lot of basic introductions to statistics, probability, and Python programming. So the week 2 we're going to do mathematics primer or primer. I say primer, some people say primer. So it's going to be statistics and probability, maximum likelihood, composite events, and Bayes' rule. Bayes' rule is one of the most important theorems in statistics, and we'll be covering that in some detail early on. And the third week, the primer 2, is when we get into more distributions, binomial distribution, discrete versus continuous data, central limit theorem, and then we're going to look at things like standard deviation and the mean, things like that as well. Now, in the Python primer, because I know some of you don't have a lot of experience with Python, but Python is one of the main languages in machine learning now, data science, along with R. So it's a very powerful library, as you'll see, a program with lots of libraries, as you'll see. And in the first part, we're just going to do the basic introduction about how to install Anaconda, which is a package, a Python package, which has things like Jupyter Notebook in and Spider and other things like that. Jupyter Notebook is the thing we're going to be using. We'll be sharing, Sergi and I share our Jupyter Notebooks we do on our office hours, as well as the slides and things like that. So you'll have them to play with as well. So we're going to do just a general introduction as well to basic things like variables, integers, and strings in the first week. Then we'll get into lists and tuples like that and how to deal with them and iterate through them in week 2. And then we'll, in the third week, it gets a little more complicated. We do build up, and we'll be giving you additional information as well as we go along. We'll do dictionaries and do a bit more sort of real programming in week 3. So those are the first, in week 6, those are the first 6 weeks of the program. And now I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to Sergi to do the next part of the content, okay? So over to you, Sergi.
All right, hopefully you guys can see my screen. So for following the first several weeks of the course, so as Ian had mentioned, first several weeks of the course are really around mathematics and Python primers. All of the activities in those first weeks are actually non-graded. They are not part of your overall grade for the course. But starting in week 7 is when the graded assignments begin. So in week 7, you have an intro to data and decision making. Basically here, what you're going to be covering is understanding the difference between correlation and causation, how to compute correlations, things like this. And you'll have your first assignment where you're going to be applying correlation and causation to a business problem. Then in week 8, we actually really start getting into tiptoeing into the meat of data science and machine learning and learning about estimators. Specifically, you'll learn about maximum likelihood estimators, Laplace estimators, and you'll actually be able to apply estimators to a business problem. And you'll also have your very first faculty live webinar, where one of the our 2 faculty members for the course will actually be going through a problem solving session, and I will actually also be moderating that session as well. Then moving on to week 10, here we actually are going to introduce our very first machine learning algorithm. You're going to learn about k-nearest neighbors, which is a very powerful and actually fairly intuitive machine learning method that can be used both for classification and regression. You'll learn about the difference between classification and regression here as well. And again, you'll have another assignment where you're going to be applying k-nearest neighbors to a specific business problem. Then moving into week 11, we move from k-nearest neighbors to tree-based learning models. So decision trees and forests of trees and boosted trees are really, I mean, decision trees are really the bedrock of tree-based learners, but boosted trees and forests of trees are actually state-of-the-art machine learning models currently. I mean, they, in many cases, they can give you state-of-the-art performance for many kinds of classification and regression tasks that don't involve any kind of language modeling or visual recognition. So that'll be a very interesting week, I think, for everyone. So following the trees, the week where we discuss classification and regression trees, you'll move on to support vector machines. Support vector machines used to be a very, very powerful machine learning method. They're still reasonably popular. But the idea of support vector machines is we're going to be talking about hyperplanes, talking about kernels, kernelized methods. So I think this will be a very interesting week and a good way to understand another approach to both supervised classification and regression. Following the support vector machines week, we move on to cluster analysis. So whereas weeks 10 through 12 dealt with supervised methods, week 13, we're moving into the unsupervised realm. So anywhere where we don't have a label or a value to predict, and we're looking at uncovering structure in a collection of data points. Really, we're talking about clustering, we're talking about segmentation. And so this week we're in week 13, this is what we're actually going to be doing. We're going to be learning about clustering algorithms. So this is k-means, this is hierarchical clustering. And then in the remainder of the course, so weeks 14 through 17, we move out of supervised learning and unsupervised learning methods, and we move to optimization. So this is where the way to think about optimization is basically you have some function that you want to maximize some value on, and you have some set of constraints that limit specific aspects of what you can do with that function. Okay, so given a set of constraints and a function to optimize, what should you do? And so weeks 14 through 17 really cover that. So we start with the simplest ways of doing this. This is linear programming problems. So you'll spend a week learning about linear programming, and then you'll spend another week using linear programming to model business problems. And then we'll get into something a bit more complicated in weeks 16 and 17. This is integer programming. So again, you'll spend 1 week understanding the foundations of integer programming, and then another week that's a little bit more applications focused. And that brings us through all 17 weeks of the program. Notice also that in week 16, you should actually be working on your Capstone project. In fact, weeks 16 and 17 are exclusively for the Capstone project. So the assignments stop in week 15, and your capstones actually due at the end of week 17. Cool. So in terms of the kinds of content that is offered throughout the course, so you have basically 4 core pieces. You have all of the videos that are posted on Tuesday for every upcoming week. So that means that this coming Tuesday, you'll have all of the information for the next week, and then that'll just keep happening throughout the entire 17-week process of the course. You have the opportunity to engage in discussions within the Incendi platform, where Adriana will show you that in just a little bit. You also obviously have the assignments, the weekly assignments that start at week 7 and go through week 15. And then finally, you also have your capstone project. That is the term concluding project that will be graded by either me or by Ian. You'll get feedback on, and is ultimately a part of your, must be completed in order for you to get your certificate of completion for the course. And also just keep in mind that regarding all of the content will actually remain open to you for a year after the launch of the program. So actually, since this is the program launched at the end of June, this date's actually incorrect. It should be through June 28th, I guess, or 26th of 2021. So you have a full year's worth of learning. It's not the 31st of March. And then here are your three live webinars. So the first one will be on August 15th. That will be during week 8. You'll have a descriptive analytics problem solving session with Alex Castro, and it will be moderated by me. Then the next one will be on the 17th of September during week 14. This is a predictive analytics problem solving session, and that will be with Professor Wolfram. And again, will also be moderated by me. And then finally, the very last webinar session, which will be on October 8th. This is the prescriptive analytics problem solving session, will also be with Professor Wolfram, and that will be moderated by Ian. So during all of these webinars, the faculty, we're going to demonstrate how to solve example problems. You'll be able to choose the problems that they go over prior to the webinar in pre-session polls. And then all of the webinars, just like this current intro webinar, will be recorded and posted on the learning program platform for you to look at after the fact if either you need a refresher or if you weren't able to join during the actual webinar. And then our office hours. So both Ian and I will have office hours every single week. Note that the office hours are in UTC. So please confirm what these UTC times are in your own time zone, because obviously we have everyone is kind of scattered all over the world, which is really awesome. Yeah, so Ian's first webinar will be on the 7th. Mine will be, my first one will be on the 9th of this month. And then that will continue every week through the end of the course. And so during the office hours, we will answer any questions you have live. We'll talk about any problems you may have with the assignments, and take any of your questions. So yeah, we'll also, if there are specific questions you have, we'll work through some things and then post the results. As Ian mentioned, if there's a Jupyter notebook that we work through, show you an example of something, we will post that to you and you'll have access to that notebook after the office hours. When it comes to office hours, you do not actually have to attend, but it's encouraged. I think if there are things that you are uncertain about or unclear about, I think the office hours are a perfect time for you to be able to ask additional questions of both of us, and we will both do our best to try to clear up any issues you have or provide additional sources for you to either explore the content or for learning in the future. Cool. So when it comes to the passing criteria for the course, you have two components. The first is you have to complete 7 out of the 9 homework assignments. Any 7 will do. And then finally, you have to complete the capstone project. So just completing the assignments, not completing the capstone project will not allow you to pass. Just completing the capstone project and completing 5 assignments will not allow you to pass. Completing all 9 assignments, not completing the capstone project, again, not enough to pass. So you have to do both components in order for you to be able to pass. Notice that although earlier we had said that the capstone project needed to be completed the last week of the course, you actually have some additional time. So you're going to have 2 weeks after the end of the course to complete and turn in your capstone project. Please try to do this before the last possible date, because like I said earlier, one of either Ian or myself will have to actually grade the project in order to give you the pass, and we'd like to be able to grade it before the actual true end of the course. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to hand everything over to Adriana, and she will take you through the Incendi learning platform. This is the platform that you're using for the course. So I'll hand that off to her.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Adriana, as you've already heard about me. I'm working in the backend of this course, managing the whole process of the course delivery, as well as making sure you'll have a great experience. So I just want to walk you through the learning platform that we will be using, called Incendi. Before we do that, I'm seeing, maybe we can answer some questions, Ian and Sergey, from the Q&A. I'm seeing Anil asking, will we be provided with additional study materials for topics related to the statistics and maths? Ian, you're muted.
Yeah. Yes, we're going to provide you with an awful lot of information. So you'll get plenty at the beginning, okay? And both Sergey and I will give information out in our office hours, and there will be some actually on the website page as well.
Right. We have another question by Ivar. Will the course teach us from basic on the machine learning and language, on machine language and maths?
Yeah, I mean, I can cover that. I mean, so the primer that Ian mentioned, the mathematics and Python primer, will give you a lot of the basics that you need in order to be able to understand how to carry on the different kinds of use the kinds of data analytic tools that are available to you. So you will get the basics during the primers, during the primer weeks. But again, as Ian mentioned just a second ago, that we'll give you additional resources if you still need some help understanding some of the components of the course.
Okay. Let's see, we have another question by Lawrence. Will I be able to use or practice using Power BI?
I personally don't know what that is.
Power BI is a data visualization tool. So Lawrence, we won't be using Power BI in this specific tool in this course. That doesn't mean that you won't learn techniques that then you can apply into the Power BI specific tool. Okay, I'm seeing some questions in regards. It looks like there was a mistake in one of the slides, specifically in the slides that talks about the passing criteria. Deadline was incorrectly marked in that slide. So we will update the slide deck before posting it into the learning platform in Sandy. Just to clarify, assignments are due October 8th, not July 20th that it was said. So apologies about that. And thanks those of you who have pointed that out. We will correct that and post it on our learning platform. Then we have another question by Divahar. Would we be able to complete the Capstone project with only the materials provided in the course without any further reading? Who wants to reply? Ian, Sergey.
I'll take that. You know, basically, you should be able to complete it with everything you're given on the website. There are, however, we do refer you to a couple of other additional links which give a lot of information. So my recommendation would be to go and look at those links as well. And you'll gain a lot of knowledge from looking at them. And it'll probably make your project, your Capstone project, better as well. So I would say generally yes to that it is provided, but there is more out there that you should go and look at.
Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen now to walk you through in Sandy through the learning platform. If you can let me know when you see it, Ian and Sergey.
Yes, we can see it.
Yep.
Great. So as we've been saying across the presentation, we will be using the learning platform called Incendi in this case. Most of you have probably started using the tool and getting familiarized with it. You've probably noticed that it's quite simple and quite intuitive to navigate this platform. So I just want to walk you through some key features that you will be using quite often throughout the course. And while I show some of these key features, I will also be answering some of the questions in the chat that I've already seen and are relevant here. Okay, so first of all, as you can see here, I'm in the course today, Imperial Business Analytics from Data to Decisions. I'm in the Newsfeed tab right now, and then on the Newsfeed, you'll be seeing periodic updates, any kind of updates. We will be sharing feeds every time we launch new content. So in this case, every Thursday with new material. We will also be sharing reminders about office hours, about the live webinars with the faculty, and everything that you need to be aware of. So the newsfeed is a great place to be up to date with everything that's happening on the course. You can also, as you can see here, interact on every post that is uploaded on the newsfeed. You can like it, you can react to it, you can respond, start discussions. So in a nutshell, great place to know what's going on the course. Okay, I'm gonna come over here to the week's tab. So many of you are asking yourself probably, how do I access the program content? So the week's tab is where we will be releasing the content of the course on a weekly basis. As you can see here, we have all the content of the program orientation week. We just released the content of the Math Primer Part 1 today. Next Thursday, we will be releasing week 3, and so on and so on. All these tabs that you're seeing over here will be released on a weekly basis every Thursday. I'm seeing, okay. So I'm gonna come to the program orientation so that you can see how this looks like. So over here, you'll access all the videos, all the activities, absolutely everything. So on the, for example, over here, you see on the section 1.3, if you have a question about when a module is going to be released, or what content, what am I gonna see in a module, this is the place to come to. So July 2nd, today, we just launched the week number 2, the Math Primer. It has 15 videos and it has several practice activities. So over here, you'll be able to check all those details. You can also pop from from bubble to bubble to access the content. Over here, you have more information about professors of this course, the faculty that you will be seeing in the videos, our learning facilitators, Ian and Sergey, which you've met today. And over here, an activity that we do encourage you to, let's see if it goes. Hold on, yeah. So an activity that we do encourage you to complete, as many of you have already done. So this geotagging activity, as you can see, we have a beautiful cohort of students from across all the globe. So use this to introduce yourself and start interacting each other. This is actually one of the beautiful parts of taking an online course, and the possibility to interact with people from all over the world that share an interest in business analytics, in this case, in a different industry or with different levels of experience. So we do encourage you to make the most of that. Okay, section 1.8, important over here. You have a tutorial on how to download and install Python with Anaconda. The sooner you do this, the better. Even if graded assignments do not start until week 7 of the course, you can start installing this. Okay. One other important thing on this on the week's tab. Every week at the end of the week, you'll see there's a survey. Okay, you will be sending a survey on what you thought overall about the module. We do encourage you to complete that survey. We are closely monitoring your responses, seeing what you like, what you don't like, and based on what you tell us, we are able to adapt little things. Maybe ask Ian and Sergey to cover a specific topic that you have been struggling with during their office hours. So completing those surveys is going to be really important, and it's going to take you very little time, and it's probably going to have an impact on your learning experience. So please complete that. Okay, I'm coming here next into the live sessions and office hour tab. On the chat, I saw many questions about is this session going to be recorded? Where can I access the recording? All the live sessions, office hours, and live sessions with faculty will be recorded and posted on the learning platform. Why do we do this? Well, we do understand that, as you've seen in the map, you all come from across the world. So finding a time for a live session that is suitable for everyone is just impossible. For that very reason, we are recording every session and posting it into the learning platform so that you can access it at your, at the moment that works for you, and you can watch it as many times as you want and as you need. So coming over here onto the live session and office hour tab, you'll see click here for the live session information and click here for the office hour tab. So on the live session information, over here, okay, there you go. Over here, you're just seeing the information on when the live sessions with faculty will be happening. So this is today's sessions. This is the session we will have on August 15th with Professor Alex Castro, and so on and so on. This is where we will be posting the recording together with the slides or any material that has been used. Within 24 hours after the session has been finished, everything will come here. And same for office hours. If you want to check Ian's or Sergey's office hours, you will need to click here to the office hour information. And this page would have, let's check, for example, Ian's office hours. And this has, as of now, the information on when Ian is taking his office hours, and then we will populate this with the recordings of the sessions. Okay, I'm gonna finish with a very important thing right now. What do you have to do if you have a question? And you may have a question about the content of the course, about you may be struggling to access some materials, or any kind of question. You'll come over here, ask a question. You'll see on the right side of the screen, this button, ask a question. And over here, we will ask you to select one of these three options. Program support question, for example, I have a general program question on consent, or my grade wasn't quite what I was expecting. Course support, example, I have a question about the learning materials. I need help from the learning facilitators. And technical support, I have a technical issue with the platform or completing the activity. The reason we are asking you to select one of these three options is because when you select the course support option, we will be sending your questions to the learning facilitators, which are the best persons to answer any course-related questions. If you have any technical support need, we will be sending this question to our technical support team, because they are the ones that will better solve your questions. So just make sure you think about what kind of question you have and you select the right option. And that's all by my side. I'm seeing lots of questions on the chat now, so on the Q&A, so let's see if we can answer some of them. Ian and Sergey.
Do you want to feed them out, Adriana, or should we just pick them out?
As you want. So we have someone, Fever, asking, can we work out the project team basis, but submissions will be individual basis, like share same data, etc.? I think it's fine if you want to work with other colleagues on the assignments. The submissions are going to be individual, but if you want to meet with other students from the course to work on the assignments together, that's fine. Oh, I see someone was hearing a ringing sound when I was talking. I apologize about that. I didn't see that. I hope it was not very disturbing. I couldn't hear it.
I saw a question there about can we use another IDE for Python lessons, like PyCharm, that sort of thing. I personally don't have a problem for people in my section using a different IDE. It's entirely up to you. You might not get support for it if I don't know it, but there is Spider that comes with the Anaconda package, which is a good IDE as well. We tend to use Jupyter Notebook because it's a very good learning tool for people starting out. But if you're more experienced, I don't have a problem. And I'm not sure about Sergey. I doubt he has either, but he can say as well.
Yeah, that's fine. You can use whatever IDE you'd like for the assignments.
Okay, Jacobo is asking, what can I expect this coming Tuesday? I think he meant Thursday. Every Thursday, new content on the Wix tab. That's what you should be expecting.
If he's talking about my office hour on Tuesday, then
Okay.
I'm just saying, if he is, he can expect a wonderful opportunity to ask questions and get answers. He might not be there. There was someone here who's a bit confused about the Capstone project. We have until the 22nd, but encouraged to hand it in earlier, if possible. Question.
I was just saying this because ultimately, I mean, you can hand it in up to the 22nd. You have all the time in the world. You don't have to worry about that. I was just saying, if you want to get it graded earlier, you can hand it in earlier, but you have until the 22nd in order to be able, the 22nd of October in order to hand it in.
There are some questions here about the actual course payments and things like that, but I think that's something that program support might have to handle. Flavia about, no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Just jumped then, I've lost it now. Oh well. All right, so there's one from Flavia here. The person I contacted for paying, paying for the course told me that I'd be able to see 2 modules a week. I don't know about that, Flavia. Maybe Adriana could answer that, or program support.
Can you say that the question again, Ian? Sorry.
Flavia was asking Ferreira. The person I contacted for paying for the course told me I'd be able to see 2 modules a week. Because I work offshore, and some weeks he can't see them. That's a question for program support. I can't answer. I'm not sure about Adriana.
Right. So I'm not sure, Flavia, what they told you. Modules are gonna be released on a weekly basis. So every Thursday we will be releasing new modules. We won't be releasing things ahead of time. One of the reasons we want to release on a weekly is so that everyone can stay up to date with everything. If you need earlier access to course content, I'll write you and you can request that on the ask question tab that we just saw on Incendi on the learning platform, and we can work on it. I hope that's helpful, Flavia, and I apologize any misunderstanding there has been.
Yeah, Natasha Ferron was following up and just saying to Flavia that she was told that all the primer modules would be available straight away. I'm not sure. That's another question I can't answer, I'm afraid.
Yeah, the primers will be accessible also on a weekly basis. Every week, every Thursday, one new primer, one new module.
Lawrence asks, as part of e-learning, will we be given access to Imperial College Library or Journal Library? I'm not sure about that question either, I'm afraid. There's some things we just can't answer. But
Lawrence,
we can find out
yes, we can. I don't believe that you will have access to the Imperial College Library or Journal Library, but we will confirm that. It won't be part of the learning platform. It won't be part of this specific course, of the specific material that you will be able to access with it.
And Victor, this thing keeps jumping around as I'm looking through. Victor was asking, is it possible to set up a Facebook group for the course so networking becomes easier? I don't think we'd have any problem with that. I mean, it's not official for us, so we can't stop you doing what you want to do, really.
Yeah, if you want to do a Facebook group or LinkedIn group, a WhatsApp group, absolutely anything you think will be useful to me, to network, totally fine. The only thing is that once you are out of the learning platform, that's totally on you. You won't have the our support there, but we do encourage you to do it. I think those are great initiatives and great ideas.
What happens if you miss an assignment due to work commitments, holiday, etc.?
Right, so you can always ask for extensions, and I'll share my screen again over here. So we understand you are all working professionals and you have other commitments. If you need extensions on assignments, we will be very flexible and we will understand that. You will just need to come over here to the Ask a Question tab and open a ticket on program support, asking for an extension, and we will approve it and give it to you. We will be as flexible as we can.
There's a question for program support about someone who registered for the course and didn't receive a login. So that's a question basically for program support, if they could answer that one. Send us an email if they don't get back to you, but we can't really answer that here. But there is a question for Sergi here from Kashif. I don't know where Sergi can see that. It says, hi Sergi, there are 2 examples for the Capstone project. One is for health and they're the ventilators. You see that, Sergi?
Yep, I see it.
Okay.
When we choose for the Capstone projects, later on, can we submit the second example of any one of you for the comments offline as a learning to get the feedback? I think you'll have a challenge to even do one of them, Kashif. So I think if you actually do wind up doing both projects, that's pretty aggressive. But I'm not sure. I would be happy to look at it and give you feedback if you'd like. But ultimately, I think even just doing one will be enough.
Yeah, there's another one about the capstone there almost underneath. Capstone is very interesting to apply to the company working in. Is it possible to have as much info as possible so that I can align? This thing jumps around. So I can align within. If yes, I'm afraid I don't understand that question actually.
I think the person's Diogo is probably asking whether the capstone can be done on something that they themselves are working on. So the capstone is based on data and examples that we provide. So I think it'll be challenging to do that. I think the goal of the capstone is for everyone to have the access to the same data and then build a project around that same data.
Yeah, that's a good point. There was a question here from Parijat. Apologies for mispronunciation. Will there be additional material provided on the primer modules for background reading? Yes, I know that the book we recommend costs money. Both Sergi and I will be recommending other books that you can get online for free. So, yeah, you should be all set without having to pay a penny, I believe, anyway. I know that book's very good, but there are alternatives if you don't want to pay that amount.
Mudit has a question. Yes, closer to the capstone, you'll be able to ask additional questions and we'll be able to provide additional clarifying information.
There's an interesting question here for the other assignment, the Python. I'm working on my iPad Pros. Would that work? I'm assuming, I mean, Anaconda works across platforms. Python is a cross-platform language. So I don't see a problem there, but maybe Sergi might know of an issue with running it on the iPad
I'm not
Pro.
sure. I've never used an iPad to code, but I assume that if there is a coding environment that you can use on an iPad, it shouldn't be a problem.
For the Capstone project, is there a specific reason why one project is structured to allow us to choose which aspects of the project we want to question and provide answers to, and the other one has specific questions about the project? I'll have a go at answering this first. Maybe Sergi can also put some information here. I know that the second one about the ventilators is actually one that's more based on the linear programming, as far as I can tell by looking at it. So I think it's probably orientated towards that, which is why it's more specific. But Sergi, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're right, Ian. I think it's a question of whether you want to use the linear programming approach or something that's a little bit more open-ended.
Okay.
And for Ladewan asks, is the access to everything in the learning platform lifetime access? No, you have access for a year from course start. So through late June of 2021.
Says, do you mind repeating your book recommendations for Python math? We'll be doing that on, in our office hours or sending out emails about that. I can't verbally tell you what the recommendation is for the book. I don't know, Sergi can, but I can't remember the titles. But we will be sending those links out.
Yeah, we'll be sending them out, but I mean, I can throw out some examples. So there's Learn Python the Hard Way. There's also Automate the Boring Stuff with Python. And then in terms of math, the statistics primer that I really like is Open Intro Statistics.
Modi was asking, would we have the opportunity to attend live sessions with faculties too? Well, those are the webinars that they're going to give out. There's 3 through the course that Alex and Wolfram do. So yes, you can attend those live, and if you can't capture them, get them live, you can watch the recording as well.
And just to add into Ian's response, the faculty sessions will be problem-solving sessions. So we will be sending, the week of the faculty session, we will be sending out a poll to ask you what way do you want, what technique do you want the faculty members to solve the problem with? So, and based on your responses, the session will be planned.
Diogo says, where are the presentations be stored? I think you showed that in your presentation, Adriana.
I can show it again. I'll share my screen again. Let me know when you see my screen.
Yes, can see it.
Okay, so we are in the learning platform over here. There's a tab that says live sessions and office hours. So you click over there. And it's right here, open over here. So over here you have 2 options. One option for live sessions informations, live session today and faculty webinars. And another option for office hours, the weekly office hours that you will have with Ian and Sergey. So for example, today's sessions will be posted right here. Let me just show you. Okay, so today, July 2nd, we are in the introductory session. We will be posting the recording and the slide deck over here. The updated slide deck with the correct dates.
General question regarding the course from employability perspective. Does this course serve as a good foundation for someone who is starting a fresh pursuit of market research as a career choice? Adriana, that's one for you, I think. I don't know. Yes, I'd say it does, but to what extent you need information, what detail, I couldn't particularly tell you, but I'd say generally, yes.
I say generally yes, and I think generally yes in 2 ways. In a way that for you, it's gonna give you an opportunity to really understand what it is like to work in the business analytics space. And this is something also that you're gonna be able to put on your LinkedIn, your resume, and you're gonna be able to demonstrate that you have an understanding and a knowledge on the topic. So definitely, to what extent, that is hard to say, but I truly believe it definitely can help.
I think there's one last question down here, actually, about for beginners in analytics. How does this course rate the complexity so far? And then what is some advice to be on track? Complexity, I'm not sure about. I mean, it is a introductory course in some ways, but it gives a lot of information. But this one, I like the second part of this question. What's some advice to stay on track? My advice, other people have their own, but is to really focus on the week in hand. Don't try to go too far ahead, because it's a big hole you can fall down. There's so much information out there. Make sure you understand the basic concepts of what we're covering, which Sergi and I will go over. Also, again, there's a lot to learn and some people want to rush on. I'd advise you to focus entirely on what we're covering in the week. Make sure you understand that to the best you can, okay? But perhaps Sergio or Adriana have some comments on that as well, about the complexity as well.
I mean, I think as Ian mentioned, this is an introductory course, so you're not going to get incredibly detailed theoretical backgrounds for all of the techniques that are covered. But I think it's a good, I like to think of it as an introductory that is shallow but wide. So you're not going to have, you're not going to have a very deep understanding of every technique, but I think you'll have a good enough overview to be to both advance your own learning should you be curious, and to actually make some meaningful insights given some data that's generated using these techniques.
Is it actually, Adriana? I think you can answer this one. Is the course Imperial College Business School for the resume?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Executive education. That's right.
And yes, Thivar, the course material itself is sufficient for you to complete the course.
But we will be offering additional stuff if you want to go deeper and to clarify, fill in certain aspects.
Karim, your question I'm not sure about. Depth of the
right.
modules. How does it compare to similar modules in the Business Analytics Master's program? I'm not sure.
I know that some parts of this course are taken from that. So there is some overlap. To what extent, I don't really know, because I don't know that course. I answered that question, Anil, about study materials. We're going to be sending an awful lot of study materials. And we've also answered the question to Diogo about where the presentations are stored. So at the moment, there's no more new questions. Aha. There's one. I think maybe Adriana. Can I start the master's program after this program? Would it be a good primer?
Well, I defer that to Ian and Sergey in terms of do you think it's a good level? I mean, to then apply to the master's program.
I'd say so. I think it's a good primer for the program, certainly. But as Sergey was saying earlier, of course, a master's program is going to go going to go much deeper, and you'll learn. And it's I'd say, a lot more difficult in terms of depth. What do you say, Sergey? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would assume that's the case. Yes.
And then, yeah, doing a master's in this is excellent. I mean, it's going to take you longer, of course. It's probably a year, I should imagine. So well worth doing. Doing a master's in this subject is a great thing to do if you can. Any other questions? Now's the time. I think we've got a few more minutes, 2 more minutes. Will there be a reasonable degree of intuitive judgment that will need to be applied to understand, interpret, integrate the insights, feedback by the algorithmic, etc., to the user? Will there be a reasonable degree of intuitive judgment? I think your intuitive judgment actually builds as you go through the course. It's one of the things. Intuition is a thing that's subconscious somewhat, and it builds as you go through the course. So you develop your intuition as you go along, I would say. Do you recommend waiting until October to start the capstone, or can we start earlier? I don't think you're going to get the information to start earlier, are you? Or maybe you do. I think
the information is first released probably around week 11 or week 12.
12,
I
think,
don't. Yeah.
So
you'll have September was when the information will be released. Sometime probably like mid or early September. Yeah. And then Natasha, all of the additional materials, there will be some links in the Incendi platform at the end of each week for additional materials. And then other stuff we will add to and post in our office hours.
All right, we're just about 1 minute or less.
So Nick, the Capstone project is based on data that we provide you. It's not based on something that you yourself can bring. It's based on data and business problems that we provide you.
Yeah, by the way, with we can't sign any NDAs or deal with any confidential information, by the way. That's stated in the course. So if you have confidential information you want to use, you can't, basically, unfortunately. Emeritus Emeritus can't do that. I'm a qualitative researcher. I also hold some degree on data literacy. Will I be able to understand the core concepts of the course? Yes, absolutely. You will be understand the core concepts of the course and extend them as well. Are they open source? Are the data sets used on the course open source?
Guys, I apologize. I have to run to another meeting. Thank you guys very, very much. I apologize, but I have to go. But thank you very much. See you all soon.
And we are actually out of time, but the data set's open source. I'm not sure how you define open source, so I'll have to pass on that question, unfortunately. Do you want to take more questions, or do we have to end at this point?
I think we'll get back to Anil on, on the open source question, and then how well suited do you feel this program is for someone who usually approaches product marketing management from a creative perspective? What do you think, Ian?
How well suited do you feel this program is for someone who usually approaches product marketing? I think it's good. I think it's a course that's been designed to sort of go across several sort of fields. So I think you'll find it very helpful. And, there's always an opportunity to apply this stuff to different fields as well. So I think it will be very helpful. Confidential information, yes. If you want to do a project that has confidential information, because we have to grade it, we cannot, any information you give us, we cannot treat as confidential, any data sets or anything like that. It's actually stated on the course, we cannot sign NDAs, we cannot use the confidential information. We can't maintain that confidentiality. That's actually outlined on the Capstone project as well.
Yeah,
I've been
you'll
told
see that on the you'll see that on the learning plan. So sorry, Ian.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
You'll see all those details on the learning platform, Murid.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Oh, is there one down here? So based on what Sergi just mentioned, do we have to assume that section one bring you? Yeah, I think Tarek, I don't think Sergi answered the question fully. There is an opportunity to bring your own scenario, Capstone project. So to go back to that original question, you can. My advice is not to do this, but you can. It has to be approved by the learning facilitator, because we don't want you getting lost in something if it's not set up properly. Now, when can you bring that? I'm not sure, and I think you'll have to bring that, you have to do that, tell us about it in the first week. So week 12, you have a week to actually, or less than a week to tell us. There's a cutoff date from when you tell us. But I don't think you can tell us in advance about it. I think it's going to be once the Capstone thing starts. So you can bring your own scenario, but we have to approve it. And it can't be any confidential information, anything like that.
And we haven't received a request in the past almost at all. That's why Sergey was just saying use the data sets that we're giving you, because even if there's the option, we usually have not received any request to use the on data. If you want to, something that we can do, but again, as Diane was saying, if you bring any data, we won't be signing any NDA disclosure to go over it. So something for you to consider. Okay.
That's it.
Thank you everyone so very much, and hope you have a great time on this program.
Yeah, try and attend. By the way, anyone can attend anyone's office hours. You don't have to be in a particular section. So feel free to come along Tuesday. We can do some Q&A and get started.
Yeah, and both Ian and Sergey are very experienced. They've run this course also in the past, so make the most of them and their support.
All right.
Have a great day, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.